Hello and welcome to Wake and Jake. Happy Memorial Day weekend in the studio. Me and BBD grinding for you, the people. Presented to you by Cushy Dreams. Maybe you guys are cushing up this weekend. Enjoy it. Hope everyone is having a good time, getting outside, family time, whatever you're doing. We're in the lab. To be fully honest with you guys, we do have a Talking Yanks episode that we're figuring how to do. Peeling back the full curtains, everyone wants to be big. Nobody wants to lift these heavy-ass weights. Rockies, Yanks, Memorial Day Sunday. Tough. They're currently in rain delay. The Yankees had one 10-run inning. Otherwise, it's been kind of meh. That we'll see what we do. Right now, they're going to come back from rain delay. We're debating, do we record during the Knicks game? It's not Jimmy's biggest care in the world. Do we just wait till Monday? Is anyone going to listen to the Rockies-Yanks recap anyways? So that's what's going through our heads. And what I'm going to be talking about this episode, which you guys might care about, maybe the most overlooked player in baseball. You guys know I struggle with underrated because we're maybe fly too close to the sun when it comes to that. But there is one guy that stands out in a very impressive way that maybe we need to have the conversation about and remind me to come back to that. Also, if you're a Jake stan, I think this is going to end with, I played a game of pickup basketball today, so I can give you guys a scouting report there. Played golf yesterday. I don't think there's too many updates. Got a nice little groove going for a little bit. 5 straight par putts. Made 3 of them. And then, maybe a little bit of Knicks. It is crazy that the balloon has been popped a little bit for Knicks fans. Not the same jazzy excitement for Wednesday night's game as the city was electric. Not the same excitement for Friday's night's game. Because, hey, these boys have been through a lot. Villanova, one of the worst losses in any sports ever. They went toe-to-toe with the Pacers, and something about those guys, man, they turn the screws on you. And Foolish Bailey, who's in town this week, we were just talking to him when we were talking about it. It's just something with the Pacers. They're so unsexy in a way. It hurts more. What I said to the boys was, like, if Steph Curry goes nuts on you and just starts bombing from 35 feet, you say, well, he's the guy that does that, and he's that guy. Just every death by 1,000 cuts with the Pacers. I'm very much not talking shit. I'm trying to say this in a complimentary way. But it stings a little bit. So, hey, maybe we'll be singing a different tone tomorrow with the Knicks. But as far as Knicks fandom goes, it doesn't often feel like you start singing the other note. Let's do some baseball before that, because that tends to be what you guys like. And engagement, Shohei. Last episode, you guys really enjoyed it. I thought you might. The player I was wrong about at every position. Admitting failure. People like that. And it's just giving love to the guys that are playing above their skis. We did have some weird caveats because we were going off of our preseason player ranking? Why am I blanking on it?
Tier list.
Player ranking. Yeah, that is it.
In effect.
Yes. And I mentioned there were some weird caveats. I think Brendan Donovan we had listed as a left fielder. Javi Baez, you could have put him at third center, short. You had options with him. That there was a couple other guys that deserve to be talked about. In the comments, as I asked you guys, you properly brought them up. Probably number one, and again, it just shows how far we've come in the course of the baseball season. Spencer Torkelson not mentioned. Hand up. I'll wear that a little bit. But the whole point of the exercises was guys I was wrong about. And Spencer Torkelson at the time was not listed. The whole thing was that the Tigers were moving Colt Keith to first base. Torque was kind of out. That being said, the way that we were discussing players and who's been the most above their skis, it's hard to argue Spencer Torkelson has not been one of those guys. He literally just was not on the list, but a good follow-up shout-out. 13 homers, 353 on base, and 887 OPS for Torque. He's 25 years old. Mark down that note. The 1-1 pick has been fantastic. And yes, Torque deserved some love. Another guy that was kind of missed on the way through, and I'll go hand up again, and I don't have too much of a counter apology because I'm struggling recognizing these guys. Kyle Stowers for the Marlins. He has been fantastic. The Amazing Allen commented, Kyle Stowers has been top 10 in OPS in all of baseball and didn't even get a passing nod. I get he's on the Marlins. It's easy to throw them in the bottom tier. He's been one of the best hitters in baseball. And you're right. I also mentioned to Bailey, who we'll have on for the midweek this week, if we wanted to get some engagement and people mad on Instagram, which sometimes our social team likes a little too much. Actually, we're kind of just doing it. None of us knew what the state of Oregon looked like. Everyone guessed Washington.
Yeah. I mean, I actually nailed it, but
Okay.
but the way those videos get edited, I'm just kind of in the slop.
It's tough. Yeah, Washington and Oregon, Northeast, Northwest, whatever. Sorry, guys. Kyle Stowers Powers. He has been fantastic. 319, a 392, 566 slug, 958 OPS. Again, he was part of the original Baltimore player generator machine that he got traded down there for the Trevor Rogers deal. There's a little hand up there. Connor Norby in there, too. He's playing okay. If we want to get people mad on social media, this is just being real with the people. It would just be pictures of Marlins and seeing if we recognize them. And I just don't know how good I would do on that roster. I just watched them play. And I don't know if I can pick out Eric Wagaman in a lineup of other baseball players. And that's no shots fired, and I hope he's fantastic. But Kyle Stowers deserves more loves for being one of the best hitters in baseball. Probably your Marlins all-star representative. Hello. 1.5 WAR, and hey, the Baltimore funeral hasn't happened yet. We're getting very close to it. Maybe it has. Maybe it should have. This team that had all this prospect capital, and we were wondering how they were going to navigate trades. Who were they going to go in on? Obviously everything has gone so wrong for them this year. And, let's not end the birds. We've seen how baseball can change from season to season, that they still have talent on that roster. They're missing a whole pitching staff that maybe the Birds bounce back next year. I don't know. But it is going to be interesting to check in a couple years. That big Corbin Burns trade. Initially, a lot of those guys were popping off for Milwaukee. Not so much this year. Stowers and Norby. Those are two prospects people liked a lot. That'll be something to track. So I'm sorry to all the Kyle Stowers faithful of Kyle Stowers. Michael Garcia, yeah, he's been good for the Royals. And he had been one of the lesser hitters around baseball the past couple of years, depending how you butter knife the stats. So, yeah, outside of that, and again, we're dealing with unique circumstances here going off of our preseason tier rankings list that put us in that situation, which pivots me a little bit to a similar topic but different. Again, peeling back the curtain for you guys, because that's what we do here. It was debating doing Wake and Jake. A little worn out. Like I mentioned, pick up basketball game. We'll get there. Golf yesterday. No ads on the episode, so make sure you subscribe. Maybe buy a shirt or something. I don't know. Just get involved.
I think if you're interested in the Substack, we've always got that, and I think one of the is the Ball and Play draft on there tonight.
I think there's some juice on there, yeah.
So that's a particularly juicy one on the Substack, johnboymedia.com.
So if you're a John Boy Media person, go check it out. We thank you guys however you support. So I mentioned the line before, ready to have the conversation, which is very much one of those new social media lines whenever you're trying to drive home a point. And the person that said it, you'll understand even more in a minute. But there is a baseball player that I think deserves a conversation. Because if you go look at, I zoomed out to some of the big numbers, and I was like, what, as May turns to June, Memorial Day weekend, what really needs to be highlighted that hasn't been highlighted yet? Like, if you've been following I'm deep in it. Bah. We're talking baseball, Wake and Jake, talking Yanks. I'm gonna say knees deep in it, but there's another body part that some people would say. And it's what do I need to get through to you? You know, Judge is amazing. I don't have to hammer that home. Like Kyle Schwarber, we've mentioned it on the way by. 18 homers, tied for the league lead. Like, should we talk more about just how generally good he is and how well he might do in an upcoming free agency? I mean, you always can. Why wouldn't you? There was a couple things that stood out before I get to my one guy that stood out that there really hasn't been enough discussion. One, Aaron Judge, a .485 on-base percentage heading into today. Quite good. I'll skip second place for a second for dramatic effect. Third, fourth, and fifth, Marcell Ozuna, Freddie Freeman, Rafael Devers. Yeah, that's what you want. Devers has started playing out of his dome since the third base conversation really picked up, which, funny, couple walk-offs. Do we like the green unis, Beebs?
I do. I like them.
Consensus is pretty high on them.
Yeah.
I like the yellow and blue ones, too. So
I liked those ones as well. But I think those were more polarizing. I feel like I'm only seeing
they just weren't
positivity
Boston-y. Like, you can spin the green monster,
direct tie
Celtics,
to the franchise.
the yellow blue marathon, obviously. Anyways, Ozuna, Freeman, Devers. Yeah, sure, absolutely.
I'd have believed that.
Those guys hit. Number two, and so Aaron Judge is at 485. For those watching on the YouTube, I just raised my hand to show how high that is. Ozuna, 422. Freddie, 420. Devers, 412. So again, obviously elite, high-level stuff, very impressive. Judge, in another world, as the discussion has been, is he the best right-handed hitter ever? Whatever. Second place in on-base percentage, a man I found myself fighting for on the recent All 2020s Decade team. Will Smith with a 457 on base this year. He's a couple games short of the other guys because he's a catcher, but not many. 336, 457 on base from Will Smith. Again, the catcher position should be treated differently. This guy, in a way, I'm always trying to give him my flowers because I feel like I'm not giving him his Stowers. What? Will Smith, that was one of the numbers that jumped off the page when I was looking for what to talk about today that I felt I had to bring to the people's attention. Again, I don't think we need to label this overrated, underrated, whatever. 457 is nuts. He's running laps kind of around the field right now. Another stat that the Cubs faithful were getting loud about, if you're into this kind of thing, Pete Crow Armstrong and Seiya Suzuki on your RBI leaderboard. Go check out where those cats are. Again, Kyle Tucker was the guy that you thought might be leading the leaderboard in a lot of these things. How good those two guys have been, but you kind of know that. Maybe Seiya deserves a little more love. PCA has been kind of one of the stories of the season. So those stats were there. Stolen bases, again, I don't know if people really care. Luis Robert Jr., 19 of them. Tied with Bobby Witt for the most in baseball. O'Neal Cruz and Ellie De La Cruz, the step below them. So that's kind of fun. The Cruzes in the Central are kind of happening. And Luis Robert, who's not doing a lot of stuff great. He's out there trying to swipe bags, so I respect it. You know,
Making something happen.
Try something. Doing nothing is crazy. Famously. All of this is dancing around. If you go to war, and I'll F war, which is weird. I normally B war, but let's F war for this exercise. And just a reminder, 51 games in, Judge is at 4.5. Number 2 on the board is Pete Crow Armstrong, who, my God, the defense and the offense. Again, this is another player off screen we were yucking about with Bailey, and Bailey was like, I got PCA wrong, as you should. It feels like when you see a lot of these super defenders that, yeah, and they can do everything else, it just never happens. Because that means you're so good at baseball. It's currently happening for the kid. Obviously, let's see what the next steps are. He's got 14 homers, 14 steals, and he has one of the highest. He's third in defensive F WAR. So what he's been doing is special. Cal Raleigh at 2.9. Sure, we've talked some Cal Raleigh. He's kind of become the number 1 catcher. And I think if you're in baseball, you kind of know that. He's a big part of what Seattle has been doing in first place. Which finally brings us to the player I'd like to talk about today. Because at 5th in F WAR is Bobby Witt Jr. And you're saying, Jake, this whole build-up was to get to Bobby Witt Jr.? Sure wasn't. You guys know B-dubs. Although I feel like we haven't seen a ton on the highlight reel from him recently. I know Kansas City's been scuffling a little bit. Bobby Witt Jr. is amazing. 301, 362, a 495 slug, while leading in stolen bases, while playing great defense at shortstop. Yep. That Bobby Witt Jr., the guy that got $300 million. Yes. At number 4, voice crack. At number 4, Geraldo Perdomo. Excuse me? That's right, lords and ladies. And I want to get ahead of one thing here, because I've brought this up on Wake and Jake, and I still have to put the full thoughts together. I do think shortstops can cook the books even, with WAR at shortstop. That I think we need to have a discussion at some point. This is going to be rude and backhanded, but Isaiah Kiner-Falefa racking up a 4 WAR season and what that can look like compared to other players. The math just didn't math for me because I looked at every other 4 WAR player and I said, I want them over that guy. So know that conversation is out there. And Perdomo does grade out very well defensively. And it was he signed the extension this offseason, and it was kind of like, all right, let's zoom in. Like, who is Perdomo? Does he deserve that extension? I thought he was a potential trade guy this year for Arizona just because they had some other top prospects on the way. So do you cash in the Perdomo chip and try to build that way? Instead, they extended him and make him a part of the core. Let me get the numbers up. I just had it extension. 4 years extension with the Diamondbacks. So it's kind of buying out the arbitration. 4 years, $45 million. But hey, that's kind of nice, right? Like, this guy's going to be our shortstop. Like, that's what you knew, but you kind of found out for good. Like, no funny business. This is our guy. So everyone kind of zoomed in and was like, why? Like, Perdomo traditionally kind of bats 9th for the Diamondbacks. And we went on a full speech and rant how he flips the lineup. He's the perfect 9-hole hitter. This year, some action in the 2 and the 1-hole, but also a lot of games, 7th, 9th, whatever. That when you were looking at last year's stats, it was there was a head tilt. It was like, wait, Perdomo played 98 games last year for the Snakes, and he racked up a 3.5 B WAR. It's pretty impressive. Again, I can have my shortstop conversation with you where maybe the books get cooked a little bit, yada, 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 but that's still nice. He was a league average hitter, 273, 344, a 718 OPS. So, with playing solid defense at shortstop, good defense at shortstop, and being a league average hitter, that is valuable. That is a good commodity. I think something that gets overlooked when we see guys play a lot of baseball, like Perdomo was the full year starting shortstop for the Diamondbacks at age 22. In 2022, as a 22-year-old, look at that, 148 games. Like, he was out there. He's been the Diamondbacks shortstop now this is his 4th season. So he's 25. That was the 25 I was coming back to before. He's 25 years old. How many prospects get called up at 24, 25? How many guys does it take a little bit to click that Perdomo, I think when we looked at the numbers, we're like, damn, like you really wish the power was more. We live in an age of baseball where power has become king. The home run is unmatched. And Perdomo coming into this season had 14 career homers. So you're like, whew, this is scary. We've had some conversations about contact hitters. Like, is the contact hitter dead? Not for Perdomo. 31 walks to 25 strikeouts. So his walk to strikeout rate has now entered kind of a like God mode territory. And if you bring up the baseball savant, his squared up percent, these are all things he is 90th percentile or higher in. Squared up percentage, sounds good. Chase percentage, sounds great. Whiff percentage, good. K percentage, good. Walk percentage, great. And with a range OAA in the 95th percentile as well. So he has become kind of this special Luis Arias type contact hitter. Obviously a couple more strikeouts, but who cares? I mean, 25 strikeouts in today's baseball in 50 games.
It's
nothing.
Well, better than average
Who
strikeout
cares?
rate.
And the power, he's got 6 homers this year. So, that puts him on pace. 50 double, that's 12, more of that. Okay, you're on like an 18, 20 homer pace. So now we have upped all the contact, all the on base. He was on that on base leader for it. He's getting on base at a 394 clip with a little more attack to the ball, an 871 OPS. So, what makes sense? Because it's early on in the baseball season, right? Could Perdomo come down to earth? Absolutely. You could say that for any baseball player, sadly. 299, 394, 871. But could I tell you that a player at age 25 got better? That makes sense in my head. Is it a player that last year had a sneaky good season, but it was a little under the radar because he only played 98 games? Yeah. Perdomo was on track for a very solid baseball season. He also has 11 stolen bases. I don't know if you normally think of him like that. 0 caught stealings this year. 45-7 career steals to caught stealing numbers. So we love that. And the whole line that I've said to you a couple times, and there's obvious some bias in it. I saw this on the Insta story of his agent. I follow his agent on Instagram, Rafa Nieves, I believe. And he posted Perdomo on top of the shortstop WAR leaderboard with the commentary, "Are we ready to have the conversation?" I don't think I am. Being the guy that's now currently have the conversation, what I just saw from Bobby Witt's page, like Gunners actually kind of started to go for Baltimore. Let's see where it lands for Perdomo. But for all the storyline players of this season, he hasn't been mentioned with it. He is on this leaderboard here with Corbin Carroll, who I think everyone's been like, hey, Corbin Carroll's back and happening again. There's an argument Perdomo's outplaying him. Like Tatis, Bregman, Freddie Freeman, he is above all of these guys on the WAR leaderboard, and some of the hitting stats are very impressive, and you'd like to... Baseball needs more of this. It's just the question of, can guys do this? Can guys actually put the barrel on the bat? Can guys fully control the zone? Can you be a good contact hitter? Perdomo is being a fantastic contact hitter with a little bit of pop, with plus defense, with plus base running. if this version of Perdomo stays for the whole year, I mean, where would he land on a best players leaderboard? Like when we go and we do this, if he runs this out for the whole season, probably not those exact stats, but what about an 820 OPS? Like things come back down to earth, but he's kind of this very talented, unique contact hitter who plays plus defense, plus base running. He's 25. Let's say he finishes at a 6-WAR season. It's really good for a 25-year-old shortstop. That's really good. Where does he start to land on the, the hierarchy of baseball? That if you were to bring up shortstops, which I can do to kind of wind down this exercise, like Bobby Witt, I think I've driven home the point. He's kind of the creme de la creme right now. It would be tough for me to go into next year saying, give me Perdomo over Witt. And like this whole conversation could seem laughable in like 2 months. What is young Jacob Wilson? I don't know. He's around the leaderboard in a lot of this. Everyone thinks it's going to come to an end. But hey, maybe give me the next generation of shortstops, baby. Pena has been having a fantastic year for Houston. It feels like we kind of know what he is, but he is having a better offensive season. Lindor's a guy. C.J. Abrams has been sneaky going off for the Washington Nationals. I mentioned Gunnar. Ellie has gone kind of all quiet on the Western Front this year. Ellie De La Cruz, 248, 322. Let's see what happens there. If Perdomo runs it out the rest of the way, we do Bailey's top 50 list every year. Should he deserve to be on that? I think so. 6-WAR young shortstop?
I would guess so.
30? He's a guy that's not getting talked enough this year. I don't know if I'm ready to have the conversation, but I'm partially glad that I followed his agent and he put it on the screen because it should be talked about how well he is playing amongst this 500 Diamondbacks team that's just got a little of the ick to it. Hopefully that goes away one day and we're talking about them as one of the hottest teams in the league. But they need to have it happen. So a little Perdomo love today. Let's see what else I've got for you guys. I'll start with the pickup basketball. One of my buddies, Nick, reached out. Haven't seen him in a little bit. And we were doing like the healthy guy, like let's not meet at a bar and have nachos and beers. So it's like, do you want to go on a dog walk? 2 guys walking a dog. I'm not above that. I've seen the rumors in the comment section.
Any given day, the answer to that could be yeah.
Sure. He was like, hey, like if you want to get a lift in, I was like, all right, yeah. I don't know. One of those weird things, 2 35-year-old plus guys that have never worked out together have a weird moment of like, are we working out together? Do we just go our separate ways? We worked out together. We're fine. We both played team sports. Haven't done that together, but we did good. Had a nice little workout going. From there, basketball gets brought up, and he was kind of like, yeah, man, he's like, I love doing any athletic stuff whenever I can, shooting hoops, tennis, whatever. I was like, well, if we wanted, it's Memorial Day. It's a decent day out. Should we go? We kind of just put in a full gym workout. Do we want to get some buckets? Look at each other? Let's do it. I go upstairs. Do I have a basketball? Check.
Nice.
I thought I did, but check. Is it flat? Yes. Do I have a pump? Yes. Pretty cool. Moment of panic. Obviously no needle on the pump. There was a needle in the top pump. It was like beautiful engineering that I was like, oh, the dream is dead. The dream was not dead. Inflate the ball, go to the park, slightly busy. It's Memorial Day. So we just get a side bucket. Let's get some shots up. He played some soccer in college, not a big basketball guy. I'm short, not very good at basketball. We go into this, we're not going to play one-on-one. We already gave each other the look. We have nothing to prove to each other there. Would we love another pair of sad 30-plus-year-olds trying to run a game of twos? Yeah. At the park near where I live, that doesn't happen a lot from what I've seen. So we're coming in, no expectations. Worst case, we're just going to get some shots up, say we went outside, dribbled a basketball, and did it. Looking around the park, a lot of kids. We're not seeing our 2-on-2 match. There's only really one candidate, and it looks like a young high schoolish kid who's being trained by an older guy to, like, work on his game. Like, they're running drills. Like, you know, the kid's working on coming around screens, pulling up, taking the shot. So we're shooting around for a little bit, 15, 20 minutes, maybe even hitting the point of, like, this was a win, should we call it? Mm-hmm. Those two come over. So you want to run twos. We look at each other. The guy training the kid looked like he had some game. That I told him, I was like, hey, we'll play twos, but like gentlemen's twos. I was like, if you start posting me up every possession, I'm out. And he laughed. He's like, no, like let's run twos. Let's play basketball.
Let's have fun.
Yes. So that was mutually agreed on. I liked it. Kid was wearing a Yankee shirt. He did pay the John Boy Media respects. Fair.
Nice.
So yeah, we run twos, and this is a big moment for me and my guy. We've never run twos together. From what we saw from each other shooting, there was a chance this went really poorly. Haven't been playing a ton of basketball. We were kind of hoping some of our old man tricks would kick in. Like, that's supposed to happen with basketball, right? Like, you're supposed to get a little more crafty. It did a little bit. We played really well. We did lose. But yeah, some good old man fake passes to the layup was working. We ran a couple pick and rolls. I gave the kid the body the couple times. Like, the guy who was training the kid kind of wants him to, like, play against dudes. Like, he's 16 years old, kind of wiry frame. He's got to learn how to, get a little physical with it. Obviously I'm not driving my elbow into the kid's back. But it was, like, perfect. We ran 2 games. Nobody got hurt. The shooting percentages were where I'd like them to be. A couple airballed threes, sure, but a couple threes that went in, and a couple nice made layups. I'd normally have a bad case of I'm going to miss one layup that's going to make me yell a really bad word at myself. And there was none of that. So an ideal run did take its toll on the body. Showed up about an hour and a half later than I wanted to be at the office, just like trying to navigate my body afterwards. And then even like my mentals were clear. I was watching the game with Biebs, just like not fully there. Feeling like I'm back at it. That was good. Golf game started slow. Just such a journey to get out to a golf course from New York City. Left my apartment at 8:30 to get to an 11 a.m. tee time somewhere in New Jersey. Went to both Penn stations, New York Penn Station and Newark Penn Station.
Wow.
Sorry to all my Newark listeners. Newark Penn Station is the closest I've been to hell. I went to the bathroom there, and I was not a part of the society, and I don't think I was welcome back. A lot of people were doing a lot of stuff in the bathroom. I'm in there with my golf clubs and a polo. It's a tough scene for a little bit. Really tough scene at the Newark train station, which probably doesn't blow a lot of people's minds. What's that?
I ended up having to navigate that station once before, and yes.
Yeah, it was a scene. They're like, there's loose pigeons in there. One lady was just like dancing. And you're just like, is this cardio? Is she insane? Is she like really happy? That was fine. We get to the golf course, start a little slow, hitting okay balls, chunked a couple, which you just hate. That's what you don't want. But on the back nine, yeah, kind of found it. Just driver right down the middle. That's my strength as a golfer. And yeah, 5 straight holes I could have had par, and that's kind of what you're looking for. Missed one birdie putt. Would have liked to have that. 43 on the back nine. So we take that all day. First round of the year, except the tasty. Go watch that on the Talkin' Yanks channel. So a nice little Memorial Day. And I guess that's where we can start aiming towards the end of this because the New York Knicks do play tonight. And, man, I just don't know. They kind of have to earn it, which sounds super messed up for a team that has changed the bar for the franchise so much. Like all the Nick memes coming out with Ron Baker and Alfred Payton and God, some of the early Talking Knicks days, some of the guys we talked ourselves into. Noah Vonleh. Like there was a while where I liked Noah Vonleh.
Manuel Mudiay.
Mudiay, I never. That one.
We watched him.
That one never did a ton for me. I'm going to be honest with you.
Shane Larkin was going to be a guy.
God. Where this team and this Knicks franchise is at compared to where they were at, the 20 years previous, again, is a massive win for New York and the Knicks. But yeah, just coming from leaving the office on Wednesday, 5:36-ish, around Madison Square Garden, everybody wearing Knicks gear, everyone with some pep in their step, people just dapping each other up. Let's go Knicks. It was just such a vibe. And then to lose a basketball game in that fashion, all the stats that came out, teams in that situation have been like 1,200-0, like at each stat that came out after the number, and you keep reliving each little moment. OG's free throw, Cat's free throw, even the Brunson non-goaltending in overtime, the Halliburton shot just going in. In a way, we've gone...
Somehow that's been very minimally discussed, that is a bricked shot that took the craziest bounce.
Again, you wouldn't necessarily tell from my jump shot. I have shot a lot of basketballs. That's never happened. And how does it happen in that game, in that moment, in the Garden? It's unreal that, like, genuinely, I think so many people, Hallie going with the double choke instantly, crazy, and he's that guy. Like, he came into the game in the series saying Reggie Miller's going to be on the call. Horseshit. Speaking for all Knicks fans. That he's like, when I hit a game-winning shot in this series, I'm going to hit him with the Reggie. That's crazy. That's where your level of confidence is different than all of these athletes. That there's so many little things that you can focus on. That the fact that shot went in is just absurd. For a franchise that has been so dearth of winning. I don't think that's a word. I think it is a word. I just don't think it's used right.
It's a word.
That it was just that in of itself was such a backbreaker that you're like, okay, I don't know. This series felt like it was going to go long. We'll see what happens now, no matter what. That, hey, there was kind of a thought process that maybe this is going to galvanize the Knicks more than ever. Like maybe this just broke them, and like they're going to be, maybe this can help bring them to a new level. That's like the optimistic spin, and maybe it will happen. But they play game 2. It's a back and forth game. Pacers get a little run coming out of the second half. Yeah, man, there's that death by 1,000 cuts that the Pacers bring at you. Yeah, it's in a way it hurts a little more than if it's just the guy. If Hallie just goes nuts on you, even though he's not the most liked NBA player, but you're like, whew, that dude had a day. This is the NBA. That's what works. You're just looking around like, okay, that guy, here's Miles Turner coming in. Again, it's not shots fired at them, and there's been a lot of Rick Carlisle deserves more love conversation, and I'm with that. Like, if I had to pick a coach in this series, I'm picking Rick Carlisle. Like, no offense to what Tibbs has done for the Knicks to bring them to a different level, but it's a no-brainer. And the edge the Pacers have, and man, the history they have of beating this Knicks team, whether you want to do Hibbert, whether you want to do last year, whether you want to do Reggie Miller, like, Pacers have fucked up the Knicks, like, bad.
The most iconic bad moments.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that the Patrick Ewing missed layup, that one is against the Pacers. That was a little before my time. And I guess, hey, Knicks, win tonight and you'll win us back. It's really hard to picture them winning 4 out of 5 against this Pacers team, and that's what they're up against. So we'll see. Maybe they will, and they'll have the city back and everyone inspired. No idea what happened in Minnesota last night. Just crazy, like bad for the NBA. What is that? I'll say this, and I guess, Beebs, if you've got any other Knicks thoughts, please. Okay.
All right. I mean, the one, just like we said with the Hallie shot, I keep coming back to since Game 2's finished, because all things considered, that was a pretty just normal playoff loss.
Right.
I'm like, how different would it feel right now if that Hallie shot just takes any other bounce? Everything else exactly the same.
Neesmith misses 1-3 and it never gets there. Like the whole thing.
One of those things happened, and we're still talking about, wow, they survived this awful set of circumstances. How did that get so close?
OG makes the first free throw. Like it's
we'd have signed up for getting one at home and try to get one on the road.
It's tantalizing. It's frustrating. Hey, maybe they'll get some road dog in them tonight. That'll be fun, and that's what we can talk about coming back. This is we're big enough. We probably shouldn't be doing this at this point. I mentioned to you guys I listen to Rosillo a ton. He's my 1-1 of podcasts that are outside of John Boy Media. When it is playoff season NBA, I will listen to Simmons more. Because, man, he is on it. Like, he was on the Pacers coming out of the East as, like, a very high possibility from before the postseason started. Pretty wild. Some of the stuff he hits on. It makes me make that laugh noise, and then I go, that dude had the confidence to write the book of basketball. The guy knows the game. If you're looking for something else to listen to that's not John Boy Media this weekend, and again, I probably shouldn't be doing this. They work with different companies. I was out of pods, so I wanted to hear them talk some Knicks. He had Jon Stewart on, and I was like, okay, I'll listen to Jon Stewart. Where am I at with Jon Stewart? In my head, like Jon Stewart a lot, but he kind of talks about it. He went missing kind of for like 7 years. Like, he tapped out of the game. And I was like, it's labeled like Knicks, Soto, and something else. They talk Knicks for like 5 minutes. They talk life, liberty, pursuit, content creation, internet, politics. And when I'm saying all that stuff, I'm saying it in a fantastic way. The conversation was a crescendo throughout. It only got better. That by the time Jimmy, John Boy, you guys might know him as, is one of the busiest humans in the world. That for me to tell him to go listen to an hour podcast on someone else's network is borderline rude. I was like, I sent it to him. I was like, dude, if you get a chance, I think you'd really like this. Because they talk like industry stuff, like, kind of our industry, that there's a business side to it that's more interesting for us than other things. I sent it. There was 15 minutes left in the show. And for the final 15 minutes, they talked a lot of Mike and the Mad Dog and WFAN, which was just electric. So if you're looking for more content to consume, it's one of my favorite pods I've listened to. Jon Stewart was incredible. There's moments of honesty and seriousness. He talks about his first episode going back to the Tonight Show, and he looks at himself and he's an old man now, and he's that freaked me out. So there's real stuff, there's very silly stuff. They talked about Juan Soto at the end for 2 minutes, and he actually defended it in one of the most beautiful ways I've seen anyone do it. So if you came here and you're enjoying this on your Memorial Day weekend, maybe you like that. Maybe you like something else we've got at Germ Boy Media. We appreciate you guys. We'll be back in the midweek with Foolish. Subscribe. Go Sports. We love you.